Good morning, everyone. All right, so I figured today we would finish up on our girl on her drawing. As you can see, I haven't gotten anything done. Not that I don't color, and when I don't stream, I do have other pages that I color. I'm currently working on this other one right here. Um, Pretty plain. I've done the background color so far. I haven't done any highlights or anything, but um, someday I will get that done. But um, as of right now, we've got this one that we're working on stream. I'm just trying to debate on what I should do next once I've got this page done. Um, we've got quite a bit of. Let's see if I can turn down my light dimness. It seems pretty washed out right now. See if that works. So to me, when I'm looking at my stream, it looks pretty washed out. So, hopefully the adjustments will work here. Takes a minute for everything for me to show up to see what it looks like. So we're gonna work on this girl here. Excuse me, having my morning coffee. And see if we can get the dress done. We'll see how far that takes us, and then we'll kind of go into something else. But as far as when this is done, I'm just trying to debate if I should do some digital art or if I should do some oh do another coloring page, one that I would print on a different paper, and really test the limits on what that paper can do as far as like using alcohol ink, not alcohol inks, using maybe ink pens, alcohol ink pens, or using I also have these guys here, Doc Martin, Bombay Red, India inks. Playing around with those on a different paper. It won't work really good on this one because it is, even if you water it down, the way it will apply from the brush, it'll just really buckle up that paper and crush that down. So, don't really want to work on it with this paper, but definitely a thicker cardstock or something else. Would definitely try that. Be kind of fun to experiment. It's good to play and experiment, with certain things. So trying to adjust some of my other lighting here. I now have this one light that's turned way, 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 way down. Let's see if this makes a difference. But I hope you can see everything okay. From what I can see, it looks pretty washed up. But, yeah, let's get that dress done. We can work on the bow. That should be super easy. I think I remember what colors I used. It's been a minute. And I suppose what I should have done is written that down on which colors I used. Yeah, that looks like one of them there. That looks like the mid-tone, and then I think the other one was the light blue on the other side. Yeah, okay. So I think I got my colors figured out here. I'm going to do this in reverse order. We went light to dark the last time. This time I'm going to go dark to light, just so we could bring the gradient out from the bow. We'll start close to the center here. So just doing my tip to tip to color the tip of this other marker. They are kind of drying out already, which is fine by me. Water-based markers, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but they are kind of a love-hate relationship in my book. So once these guys are done, I think I'm just going to stick with alcohol markers, unless you guys choose that the water-based markers, you learn a lot from me, and you want me to do more with the water-based markers. I can certainly do that. I started a lot of my coloring on water-based markers. So I do have some experience on them. A lot of the pictures that you'll see in like my opening stream that are live coloring pages, a lot of those have water-based markers on them, gel pens and whatnot. So yeah, let's color that in too. I'm gonna go back over a little bit, kind of smooth out some of those hard edges. With any kind of coloring medium that you do, you're pretty much going to have to do that every time. Even with alcohol-based markers, you may have to go over it once or twice more to smooth off the excuse me, smooth off the line work or lines that the pens create. So there's that one. Let's get these caps confused. They're not that confusing, but I always put the wrong end on first. So, yeah, you'll have to go over once or twice to kind of smooth out those lines. So you definitely go through a lot more ink when you have to do one or two or three different layers over the top of your initial layer. Go the other way. So just something to think about when you're doing any kind of layering. Alcohol markers, you really actually don't have to do that much with the layering if you can get it in a good spot. You know, if you're getting really the hang of it. And the marker has got a lot of ink in it. The less ink it has, the more you're gonna have to go over it with layers. Hopefully you could go over layers with the same color if you're trying to get like a flat wash. But if you can't, go over with another marker that is either lighter or similar in tone that you're looking for your end result. Then that way you can still kind of keep the color concept that you were initially looking at getting. But yeah, I really like the refillable markers, because if you are running low on an ink, it's nice to be able to just add more ink to it and just keep going with that pen. Sometimes what I'll do with these water-based markers is I will get a cup of water or a little dish of water and a dropper, and I'll go in and I'll essentially moisten up the ink a little bit, kind of push that ink down towards the direction I want it to go so I can use more of it to finish the project. I have one of my pens that are drying out. I will show you that trick. But essentially, I'll use the brush tip for majority, if not all, of the marker pen's life. I don't particularly care for bullet tips. I know a lot of people do to get into some of those fine creases, but I think the brush tip just is a little bit more functional. But what I'll do is I'll leave the cap off of this and maybe have it sitting over the cap inside a little bit, but not actually on. And then I'll take this cap off and I'll take my dropper and I'll drip water onto this end, and slowly it'll soak the ink down through and push that ink down towards the bottom where I want it to continue on the path that I wanted to go to get my section of coloring done before I just toss it. If you do it enough, over time, the ink will actually become lighter and lighter and lighter because it's getting more diluted with the water that you're adding onto it. So, which cap is what? Not that it matters, but that's just something else to think about, is if you're going to add water. You can kind of do that with alcohol inks. It'll do the same thing, push the ink down or dilute it over time if you just keep going back to the pen later after you've added alcohol. I don't recommend doing rubbing alcohol. I mean, I've done it personally in the past. It really doesn't do much to the marker, but I mean, it could impact the pigments inside and the longevity, especially if you're just trying to get as much life out of it as possible. So I don't particularly recommend doing that, but you could. The other option, which does cost a little bit more, but it will keep some longevity in your pen, your marker, is getting a refillable bottle of colorless blender ink. I don't think it matters too much of which brand you get. I mean, Dick Blick has got a 32 milliliter, I believe, colorless blender, under $10. I think right now it's like $5.50 or something, but you can get one of those and you would just use that to drip into your alcohol ink to push that ink down to use it further. And then just keep that marker going for a little bit longer. I have a colorless blender from a generic company. Well, at least I could consider it generic, more of a cheaper alcohol marker brand. And I use that quite a bit, and it is kind of drying out a bit. So I was thinking of getting that refill for Dick Blick to add more to it. And just keep this marker. It's been a pretty decent marker. It has the bullet tip and the chisel nib, which, I mean, I know chisel nib's okay, but it's Banyo or whatever, Banyo. So it's not a bad marker. I mean, you're gonna need a colorless blender anyway, so you might as well have one and just keep it going, especially if the tips are functioning still. And eventually, if you use enough of the colorless blender that you preferred, like Copic, or if it's the Dick Blick version or whatever, eventually you'll wash out, so to speak, the components or chemical structure that they put in there for their alcohol markers into the version of Dick Blick's or Copic, and it'll be just fine. Quick coffee break. So there's this. I think it turned out pretty good. Excuse me. So I think what we'll do next, we'll do her sleeves. Um, I think I'm gonna do this one a little bit different. I'm gonna just do the dark areas in the grooves. Same thing down here and probably underneath. And then just do like the lighter and then the mid one instead of doing the tip to tip blending. So I think it's not gonna be too noticeable because we can always go back over with these color pencils and blend it out and make it look like we did a tip to tip blending like we did for the rest of the dress. Turn her upside down. So how are you all doing today? It's first day of March. Spring is coming. If you're like me, I live in a colder climate. So snow is pretty much melted now, which is nice. Unless you have piles of snow somewhere. Of course, that's going to take a lot longer to melt, but still kind of nice to see the snow sections dwindling down day by day lately. Oh, I was thinking of doing the light one right there. I wonder if that's going to be too light. I'm just trying to think if it would be better to do the middle one instead. And then the lighter ones towards the bottom. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll do the mid blue here. Some colorists like to plan their entire project out before they get started. And in some regards, I kind of do. I plan little bits and pieces and stages. I don't plan the entire project out from beginning to end. And this color's going to be red, this color's going to be blue, or I'm going to use this combination of reds or pinks in this area, and flowers are all going to be these three colors in variable or arrangements or whatever. I don't really do that. In some projects, when you do that, actually, they turn out amazing when you plan ahead that way. But also, those that you don't plan out that far ahead also can turn out amazing as well. So, I think it all depends on the person. I mean, as long as you're progressing, you're still getting the look that you want. That who cares how you got from starting to end on it. This little dot. I keep running into my monitor here. So, I think that turned out good. So I'm going to use this for the under ruffles of this because obviously that would be in shadow and it would be a little bit darker anyway, so. Go. Basically, this is all under shadow. See all that. I'm trying to stay out of the way of the camera, but I can't really look at the camera at the same time of coloring. A little hard. I suppose I could move some of my screen arrangements around, but perhaps another time. You can kind of see that this blue has a little bit of a gradient in there. A lot of it's that's the grayscale that's coming in, making it a little bit easier. I'm shuffling it all around for me. So yeah, good stuff. She is definitely coming around pretty good. So next we're going to do the light blue. And we'll do that on here. Sorry. Hot glue left over on my desk from yesterday's project for my little one. It's a dress-up week for school. Day one was Ellie and Piggy Day, so wear pink or gray. Ellie is an elephant in a storybook, and Piggy is obviously a pig. Cute little books. My daughter loves them. She's kind of outgrown them, but she still likes to read them, so what do you do? Alright, we're gonna work on this area here real quick. Oops, I got her glove a little bit, but that's alright. It'll be fixable. Won't even know that is there. You can't really even see it on camera. And this is one of the reasons why I like having my artwork on a clipboard, because I can have it more in my lap and I can spin it around whenever. I don't know if I've showed you. I showed you the clipboard, but I don't know if you guys have seen the got a pop socket on the back. It's a little dirty, but yeah, I just if I'm gonna use it, I could just sit there and spin it and get any angle that would work the best for me. So it's a nice little addition on there. Sometimes it does get in the way, and that's why I don't have it on here, because with the pop socket, it makes the clipboard tilty. So I kind of want to get another clipboard that I don't have a pop socket on it, but I can still have my new working projects on. I just haven't got around to it yet. Alright, so we're going to do her shoulder in the mid blue. So that's kind of what the other one is, with the exception of the recessed ruffles. Okay. So that's more of her dress completed. Now as far as her bustle here, or her corset, I think would be more the acute term for it. I was thinking of doing something that would really make it pop out. Either doing it in like a gold, because a gold does sound pretty nifty. So swatch paper over here. So we got a couple of different yellows here. Got this guy. This guy. Oh, I don't know if this really would work that well. Yeah, kind of. We got those. So we could do a gold bustle on her. Reason why I'm not doing any more in the sleeves is because it's still kind of wet a little bit. So I want them to fully dry before I whip out the colored pencils and make any definition on the shoulders here. So I'm gonna leave that alone for now. So I'm thinking for the dark gold could be the deep recesses of this. The mid gold for the rest, but using the light gold as a gradient in there, so like towards the front on here and towards the front on there. Towards the front on there. Let me try something. I'm going to do this two different ways. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. Give that a little bit to dry. I do have a fan going on over here to kind of help with the excuse me. With the drying the inks. I did something similar here to what I'm thinking here. I put down a dark brown and then I put a red over the top, which is what I did for the hair on this one. The red that I had was quite pronounced, like more of a more pinky red, I guess. Let me go grab that here. Okay. So another thing where caps don't show you what their true colors are. So it toned it to a more of a brown color when I used it. I don't know if you can really tell, but yeah, it's more of a brown color, and that's what I was going for, is to make it a little bit more like a redhead. I still have to perfect the redhead look. I don't want the Little Mermaid redhead coloring, but this seems like that's all I get when I try to do a redhead, so it's a work in progress. By no means am I an expert, but you know, we try what we can when we can, so we just watch something, learn something new, and play around with it. It's what you gotta do. Experiment, experiment, experiment. So, I think that's what I'll do. Oh, I was gonna experiment, sorry. So I went over the light yellow with that, and I want to see what this does when I go over the orange a little bit, and then go over with the light yellow on this. I suppose I could have used that spot too, but I wanted to see what that would look like. The mid yellow. Water-based inks don't really move or blend once they're kind of set. They just stay there. So I was just trying to see what the difference would be as if I were to do the yellow and go over the top with the dark one, or do the dark one and go over the top with the light. That's pretty wet, both of them were. But I think I have my idea. I think I'm going to do the dark one on those recesses in the top of the bodice, the corset here. And then I'm going to do the color gradient for the yellow. So what I'm thinking of doing is I was thinking of starting in the middle, doing light and fade to dark, and then the opposite over here. Just having like a middle of a divider line, but I'm not sure if that would work that well. I might start with this side and then go this way. I think I know what I want to do now. Again, with the I don't plan ahead. I mean, I have maybe a basic idea of what I want certain things to look like when I'm done as I'm working on it. But having it all written out, drawn out, no. Nope, nope, not gonna happen. Alright, so I'm gonna do this. Keep my pens at the ready. I'm gonna put in a dark end of this. Maybe. Can't see it. Changing that to dark. Move up on the tip here. This one pretty wet. Take the end off, maybe that'll help the ink flow down. These markers, they don't sit upright in a jar or anything like that. These guys lay down all the time to help distribute ink. But it could be because this has more liquid to it, and because it kind of seems like the lighter yellow is actually working its way into here. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe not. Alright, oh goodness gracious. Alright, let's see if this comes up with anything. Otherwise, we'll just fix it with colored pencils. Sometimes the color gradient with doing it this way doesn't really work out that well for whatever reason. I mean, we know that, see, look at that. It's getting in there a lot easier than it was the other way around. We know that moisture consistency definitely makes a difference. Wetter the marker, the more ink flow you're going to have coming down, out. You can kind of see a color gradient in there, and it's definitely working. I'm going to quick do this here. I skipped it because I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this part, but I think I'll just fill it in with this mid blue again. So the grayscale helps with the shading on that bodice. I'm going to show you a trick on that. That's something kind of fun that somebody had taught me. There's a couple different things, but I know which one I want to do. I was watching Sarah Renee Clark, How to Color Gold, and then she also did How to Color Chrome. So check her out. She's got some pretty good tips on how to color gold. Some of that I am using here, but not necessarily all of it. This next step I'm going to do something a little different. I think my blues are dry though. Let's grab my colored pencils out again. And go with those soft ones again. So I think what I'm going to do, honestly, I think I'm going to leave the bow alone. I'm not going to mess with that. But I think what I'm going to do is work on these shoulder pieces here. I'm going to come in with a light blue. Come in and give it a pop of color on the highlighted section. I swear I grabbed a brighter blue. Alrighty. Another thing you can do, come in with a white. That would add some pop to it. A bit to blend it out a smidge. Again, the lighting is playing tricks on me here. It doesn't look that good to you when you got the glare going on. It makes it look a lot more funny, but now without the glare, I think it looks pretty good. Yep, I think we just definitely need to work on the glare and my camera aspect. It's a work in progress. It always is. So I didn't do too much there. I haven't done anything with the choker, but here, let's fiddle around with the choker here. And sometimes I don't even do any adjustments. Like with the grayscale on this, the choker I think looks perfect. I'm not even gonna mess with it. I'll leave it just the way it is. But her bodice, that is the next thing I want to work on here. But I need to see which one of my stupid pens here works, because I don't know if it's just because you don't use them for a while, then they just gum up and then they stop functioning, or or what for gel pens. It's aggravating. But what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? Okay, check my coloring book here because I might have had. Nope. Nothing in there. Alright. So, I've got a couple of these here. And, like this one, not working. Okay? Sad. And that one kind of works. I don't think this one works either. It kind of works. Not very well, but... got a crack in the top of that. Oh, crack. Weird. Alright, so these ones I store vertical. I was storing them flat, but it just didn't seem like it was doing, or they were getting hurt that way laying flat, which, I mean, you would think that laying them flat wouldn't have hurt them any. Alright, so I'm going to take this white, and I'm going to dot. I'm going to keep this handy, because every once in a while you just got to get your pen flowing again. But, I saw somebody else doing this on their gold, make it kind of pop and seem glittery. They took a white gel pen, and they dotted up areas with the white all randomly. And then they took a black pen. They took a black pen and they dotted up areas to make it look glittery when you take pictures of it. And this one, yeah, definitely have to have a plan to some degree. You gotta keep your dots randomized, of course. You don't want to have everything in sequence and stuff, but I hope you can see that. Come on, camera. Can you focus? I don't know if you can even see that very well. There we go. Come on. Focus for me. It focuses for a second, and then there it loses focus. So I hope that you can get an idea on it. But it looks a little bit sparkly when you're looking at it. So that's one way to do it. Is using random dots. Let me see if I can play with my camera here. I thought I turned off autofocus. That's what seems to help it. I hope you can see that. And that's kind of better. So it looks kind of sparkly, like it's got glitter on it, I think. So that's one option. I could even do it to her dress or whatever and make it look like she's got some sparkles on there. You could do just random, like you could do like a random Twilight, you know, cross or whatever. Make it look like sparkle that way. Sparkle that way. I mean, it's just having one solid line works better, you know. Having a little sparkle that way, or you know, what, short line, long line. You do sparkles that way. Kind of look cool. Depends on where you want it. Try not to go overboard. Sometimes it looks so cool, you're just like, oh, this is fun, I want to keep going, and it looks so cool, and then eventually you're gonna look at it like, I went too far. And that happens. Happens to me. Happens to everybody. Yeah, I think her dress is pretty much done. I know we got this area down here. So when we got the ruffles, obviously, it's only just one little spot, and I'm not entirely sure what you would consider the back part. And sometimes you just gotta keep it simple, and here's what I'm gonna do to do that. I'm gonna leave that part because that could potentially be a ruffle, even though there's no definition in it. But I'm gonna take this area and eliminate any possibilities. Poof. Possibilities are gone. That takes off a little bit of what should I do there? So now we've got these swirls here and here. So let me put my markers away. Starting to get clutter over here. All right. So let's see. So we do have a couple options on the sparkle here. Let me bring out my markers. My pens. So this is where all my pens sit in. Those other ones are all over here and stuff. So I've got a bunch of gel pens here and some glitter ones. These are some solid metallic ones. They have just a tiny tip on them, but actually have quite a bit of ink in them. But it's a very opaque color. So it's just, you're not going to see the grayscale underneath it at all. So, just trying to debate. I don't know if I'm going to use those. I haven't really used much of them, and it's not like I don't like them. Some of my, I guess in a way it's one of my favorite pens. Some of my favorite ones I do actually try to use them on special occasions or special things that I want to use them on, so I don't try to use them too often. The water-based ones, I'm just trying to burn them up as fast as possible, honestly. So, I have these. These ones here are kind of, well, they're opaque too. But they're weird. Um, they do the same thing, but they have more of a brush tip to it. And for some reason, they just do not want to quit. I got them from Wish. Or, yeah, I think it was Wish that I got them from. So they've had some quite a longevity in them. Oh, this one, it looks like it's, well, it's a white or a gray, but when you put it down, you can't see it until it starts to dry, then it pops up. So it takes a minute for it to show up. And so it's kind of fun. On really dark surfaces, it's about the funnest on there, but that would probably take forever to get rid of. So just trying to think. We could do the gold or the silver in this. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Trying to use these guys up. I mean, I could just be a wasteful Nelly and just toss them and say I don't want them anymore. But I'm not like that. I would much prefer to try to use them first. Till they're dead. This silver actually might be almost dead, which would make me very happy. Sorry, I think my cat is making a bunch of noise somewheres. There's one. Not that you can tell much of a difference between white to silver. I had a pink in this one. I wouldn't say it necessarily ran out. More or less, my daughter killed it. These tips on this one, these ones here, are very fragile. So if you push too hard on them, they're gonna bend. I mean, this one's kind of busted up too, but yeah, I'm not getting very straight lines at the bottom. But it still works. The pink one is just pretty much dead. I think she even probably left the cap off of it one time, and so when I went to pick it up, it did little to nothing. So it ended up in the garbage, as a lot of things do. So I've been thinking of doing some streaming in the evening for about an hour, kind of like what I do here already. So I might try to do that tonight, work a little bit more on her dress, get this completed. This is the last thing I'm going to be doing on here is these lacy areas, and as I'm working through this gray, kind of thinking that this gray is just about done. But I thought it was just about done on another project I was working on several weeks ago, and it's still going on strong. But, well, not, I wouldn't say strong. It's still going. But, yeah, I think after I'm done with this lace, this gray is going to meet its final resting place. I mean, it's still working, still doing what it's supposed to do. But with some of these, once you start seeing them getting fadey, skipping spots, then you know it's about time to throw it away before you run out on the middle of a project and have part of a project colored and nothing left out of it to finish. Oh, a little shiny. Kind of looks like a metallic foil on camera. So, I think this will show our time. Bye-bye, farewell, pen. Broxland Metallic Brush Pen. I don't know if you can see that. Broxland Metallic Brush Pen. Bye-bye. And then my enjoyment after I've released a pen from its duties is actually shuffling pens over. I like doing that. I don't really need to do it there with that one, but I like doing that. And so I'll just kind of go all the way down and just flipping through until the end. But yeah, I can fit more pens in here. I don't. This box right here, this is kind of a one that I'm trying to go through to get rid of. But I have more of those King Art water brush pens. I have a whole another set, which I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with. I bought 2 of them because the first set I had had 24 or something. It didn't have many, but it was one that I got from a Inktober box that I got from Art Snacks, and I really enjoyed them, and so I wanted to get some extra ones. So I got some extra ones, especially the color grading. That's what really made me like them the most. And my daughter got a hold of them, of the original set that I got from the Inktober box. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll open my own box. And then I don't know if it was just timing or quality is different, but I don't enjoy them as much as I initially did. But that is life. I mean, with an artist, you change what you like, what you don't like. It's a constant rotation. But anyways, I think that's our hour. I've got to get going, get ready for my real job that actually pays. But you know, it was great chatting with you guys. I hope you enjoyed watching my show. But yeah, I would love to come back this afternoon, evening. It's probably going to be after 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. And work more on her dress, get the bottom done, her handkerchief, her gloves, face and hair. Still a few things left in there. And then we'll kind of go from there, depending on how much time we have left. Work on the dresser or this side of the piece, get that done, and then work on that, whatever. I mean, an hour is what I'm thinking of this evening. It may be more, you know, who knows. Depends on how things go. But I appreciate you joining me, and you have yourself a safe day, and be good out there. Thank you.